Hey folks, how's it going? This is Gray 1951, feeling haunted. We are about a week away from the Feast of All Hallows, and it's time to get back in the spirit of Halloween a little bit. I've been very lazy, haven't been doing anything. Long time no video, sorry about that. But I've been keeping up with my friends, especially James and Ian, and my friend Rob from Rob's Movie Collection, who have been putting out things for all 31 days of Halloween, talking about different films. And it's been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying seeing what everybody else is doing and just sitting back and not doing anything, so except making comments on their videos. But one thing I've realized in watching what everybody's doing, and it drives home the point once again that there is so much I don't know about, well, all cinema, but horror films specifically for this month. So many things I haven't seen, so many areas I haven't explored yet. So I'm always busy taking down notes and writing down titles and saying, okay, put this on your watch list. So once again, it's kind of frustrating thinking that I may not have long enough to live to see all of these movies. But if you're like me and there are a lot of things you don't know about horror films and you'd like to explore, I have a couple of ideas here. A couple of horror film documentaries that you may be interested in seeing, might tell you something about the history of horror and things that you might want to explore. Here is the first one. This is called 100 Years of Horror, hosted by the fantastic, legendary Christopher Lee. And this is a documentary that came out, I believe it was 1996. I actually have this on VHS, and the date on the VHS tape set, two-tape set, is 1996. So I'm assuming that's when it first came out. But I bought this a long time ago, never watched the whole thing, just watched part of it. But this is really excellent. 3-disc set, comes from Mill Creek Entertainment. Didn't cost very much, and you shouldn't have any trouble finding it. But Christopher Lee, each one of these is about the episodes, I think, about an hour long, and they cover different topics. So I'll show you what they are on each disc. The first one has chapters on Dracula and his disciples, blood-drinking beings, so we're doing a lot of vampire stuff here, Frankenstein and Friends, Baron Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, werewolves, and then Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff talking about their great careers specifically. And then finally, a chapter that I haven't watched yet. I started watching it. It's about ghosts. It's called The Evil Unseeable. And then the next tape has phantoms, witches, demons, mutants, freaks, scream queens, girl ghouls, maniacs, and gory gimmicks. And finally on disc 3, we have sorcerers, aliens, mummies, zombies, mad doctors, man-made monsters, giants, and dinosaurs. So this is it's nearly 11 hours of viewing pleasure here, plus a lot of information, not only from Christopher Lee, but people that are interviewed. It has people like Bela Lugosi Jr. and Sarah Karloff, the daughter of Boris Karloff. It has Fred Olen Ray, the director, who's a big fan of classic movies. I believe Jack Pierce, the makeup man who did Frankenstein. The grandson of Lon Chaney, Carol Borland, who worked with Bela Lugosi in Mark of the Vampire. It's always nice to hear what she has to say, because she knew the man very well. So yeah, this is a great source of not only film clips and ideas, but lots of information, the history of horror, and not just the old stuff going all the way back to the silent days, but a lot of things in the present day, at least up until 1996. Okay, so see if you can find this. Look for this online. Another documentary, which is available on, I know it's available online, but also on home video from thevideobeat.com, which I keep talking about endlessly. This is Horror Europa. This is an English documentary that showed on the BBC, let's see, back in 2012, I believe. Yeah, 2012. And it was a follow-up to another series on the BBC called A History of Horror, put out by a guy named Mark Gatiss. And in this one, this is 90 minutes long, and it talks about everything that came from the continent as opposed to English horror. Talks about people like Dario Argento, Ricardo Freda, Mario Bava, It interviews people such as, let's see, Dario Argento, Fabrizio Baba, who is Mario's grandson, Guillermo del Toro, and it says that it interviews Barbara Steele, but I don't remember seeing her interviewed in this, so that may be a mistake. But I'll go back and watch it again, and maybe I just fell asleep or something. But it does talk about her film, The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock, and so that is a lot of information right there. And again, you don't have to buy it. You can find this online, but I like having this at home as well. So, and another thing that is great fun, not necessarily to learn something, but just to have a lot of fun. This is a terrific camp cult thing called Horrible Horror, which came out in 1986 with a man named John Zackerly, who was one of the original horror hosts from the 1950s and up into the 60s, the Cool Ghoul. They call him TV's original horror host, and this has this is a 2-disc set, has a whole bunch of extra features, most of which I haven't watched. This is another one that I bought back in the 80s on VHS, and then made a terrible mistake, and I actually recorded over the tape. Didn't have one of those little, had the little square piece of plastic, remember, that you're supposed to tear off if you don't want to record over something, and I made a mistake and I did. But I was very happy to find this on DVD. It has loads of film clips from grade B, grade Z horror films, which I love, science fiction as well. And let's see, what else? Plus a lot of comedy and comments by John Zackerly. Now, John Zackerly, he died in 2016 at the age of 98, so he was with us for a very long time. The guy was very prolific about putting out funny record albums with horrifying sounds and little comedy bits and all that. He does a lot of comedy bits in here. But the idea here is that John Zackerly's 500-year lease has expired, and it's time to move out of the castle. So he's going through his files and all that in the dungeon, and he's looking at some of these old films. So this is great fun. Great way to help get into the Halloween spirit. Of course, I know you're all probably there anyway, but if you're not, I'm here to help. So let's see if I can do a little bit of a countdown to Halloween here and put up some more stuff before the big day comes. Okay. Stay scared.